Well, the 10th anniversary of the taxpayer bailout of General Motors just passed. Did you celebrate? General Motors did. They celebrated by shutting down 5 factories across the U.S. and Canada right before Christmas. They put out of work thousands of blue-collar workers, and they hurt small-town economies across the region. GM had promised to transfer some of those workers to a factory in Indiana, but they didn't. The company hired temps instead. GM has now decided to fire more than 4,000 white-collar workers, and they're doing it in the most humiliating way possible. Why not? They can. The Detroit Free Press reports that GM's Human Resources Department emailed employees at a facility in Austin, Texas, and invited them to a meeting in the conference room. Once there, HR read the soon-to-be-fired employees a pre-written script and then escorted them out the front door in front of their colleagues. Employees who survived those cuts stood in their cubicles watching in horror. Workers who had fewer than 3 years of seniority received just a few weeks of severance pay. Taxicabs were lined up outside the GM facility in Warren, Michigan, so employees could make it home after the company confiscated their corporate cars. Why did GM do all this? Well, we don't really know. The company issued a press release so riddled with corporate doublespeak that it barely qualifies as English. Quote, General Motors accelerates transformation. That's the title of the press release. That might give you a flavor of it. The company described the mass firings as a way to, quote, drive significant cost efficiencies. Plants weren't closed, according to GM. They were unallocated, whatever that means. The word layoff did not appear in the release. It may seem hard to believe now, but mass firings like this are a modern phenomenon. In a fascinating piece in the Week magazine, Matthew Walther points out that before the 1970s, American corporations didn't fire workers in order to improve corporate profits. Walther quotes no less than Henry Ford. Ford explains why he built his company. Quote, my ambition is to employ still more men, to spread the benefits of this industrial system to the greatest possible number, to help them build up their lives and their homes. To do this, we're putting the greatest share of our profits back in the business. And he did that. Ford felt a responsibility to the people who worked for him. Mary Barra clearly does not feel that responsibility. She's now the CEO of General Motors. She decided to shut down factories and fire thousands of people, even as her company was generating billions of dollars in profit. GM is now the largest car producer in Mexico. The company has plans to expand production in China. Barra herself is getting rich from all this. She makes $22 million a year. Now, for some perspective, that is more than 5 times what Toyota's far more competent CEO currently makes. Virtually nobody says anything about any of this. The left is too distracted by global warming or the lack of transgender SEAL teams to pay any attention. Libertarians don't care. This is what they think the market is. But the rest of us should be honest about it. What Mary Barra just did is disgusting. Just because it's common doesn't make it all right. It's not.